Vampire Survivors. Wiki. Passive items. Probably look at the passive items. It's like, again, it's fine doing basic ones. So I can see that the thing is lagging a little bit. Again, this is the weakness. This is why we avoid doing too much. I've not seen that one. That must be a new one. From, like, one of the new things. Nor have I seen that one. Increase enemy spawn quantity by 10, increase the duration of gold fever from gold finger by 10%. God damn. Yeah, no, those look like they're from one of the newer expansions. Might occasionally infect you with its relentless happiness. What a fucking interesting one. Go to Castlevania. Oh god, yeah, that's part of like real big expansion stuff I've never seen. Because I'm quite far behind now on the expansions. I do really need to sit down and actually play through some newer stuff. Again, like, this is kind of that thing of there is a lot of very linear effects in these games. What about here? Gameplay items. Let's look at HoloLine's items. And think about, like, any kind of theory stuff we can pull from those that would work well with these kinds of, these three things here. I mean, energy drink wouldn't be a bad idea, kind of as a theory point, but I don't really like the idea of adding more negative things like this. Because I've already got like one or two in the works. Mel having one, for example. And I will stress this at the end of the day, is I have a real hesitation for wanting to give actual negatives to the player. Some of these are fine, and like for this one, for example, this is very manageable, but this is not locked onto a character initially. That's the big thing. So a character coming with minus 20% health is a character coming in with minus 20% health. That is a huge nerf. Because that means that whatever I say for their health is actually a lie. And I don't think that's like the right thing to do for a item that goes on to a player. For an item that doesn't start on a player, sure, but not for an item that starts on a player. Again, Mel is already pushing that, I believe, with one of her things. Where's Melody? Ability, yeah. So ability is you lose permanent health, but it converts to crit damage. That's her ability. It means you do not start the run with the effect, which kind of mitigates the pain of it. It means that it's still kind of opt-in, opt-out. You could banish it potentially and never get your third thing if you really don't like it, but I don't see a reason why. I think it's like, what is it, minus 15%? Yeah, minus 15% max health actually matters that much. Especially when it's that much crit damage, potentially. And I don't really want to give cooldown nor area. Those are two things that I will say, by the way, now, is that, like, cooldown and area are already in fairly large supply. So is movement speed in a sense, and that's why, like, I kind of want to avoid just giving a straight up movement speed thing. So that's definitely a consideration. I could add an item that's dodge chance. Should we do a dodge chance? I think we could do a dodge chance. I mean, does dodge chance sound right for the Hellhound Heart, though? I still think, like, an AoE fire effect sounds more correct, but just doesn't really make sense with the kit. Like, that's the thing that I'm, like, the most, kind of surprised by, is that regardless of how far down this rabbit hole I've gone with the ideas and thinking about it, I still kind of end up with the Sunfire effect being probably the one that I want to do. So I'm just gonna go with it. If we decide to rework it at a later date, we decide to rework it at a later date, right? So it is just going to be... Okay. But I could make it have a weird scaling, right? That might mean that, like, it feels a little bit better. So it's not, like, high damage itself. So we do pull down the damage to, like, 2. But we have it, like, scale with maybe movement speed to make it feel a little bit more synergistic. Just have to be careful because we don't want to, like, overscale the passive out, right? I mean, one thing we could do is make it a chance thing, but I feel like at that point in time, like, I've now just basically made the ability, but also as an item. And that just feels kind of eh. I mean, we could make it, we could add an effect to it, because again, it's heart, right? So it's kind of like, there's a bit of a vitality thing going on with that. So we could add a healing aspect to it, and it's like a very, very subtle healing. Which would then make it like really interesting to synergize with, say, like Iron Mouse. Go with something like that, maybe. And then for the most part, I'm gonna just quickly speed this up because we've spent so fucking long on this shit. I'm gonna grab this. And it's going to be the slam as well for now, but I'm going to obviously make a particle for this separate. And then we need a cooldown for it. Now, how do I do on hit? I can't remember how I do on hit push. It's related to effect. Gonna be lazy and do it here. Actually, no, that's really bad if I was to do it that way. There we go. So now that should be whatever bug is for item, but one more. So it should be 12. There we go. So that should be all of Cinder's stuff aside from ultimate and assist in. Not bad. Not bad at all. Feel like I've done again, like this is the beauty of some of the stuff that we've done, is that after several like changes and reworks and all that stuff, we can do this sort of stuff very quick and easy. Welcome back. Did something happen? Wait, what? YouTube, what did you do? My stream ended, figured it was a bug. Yeah, no, that's YouTube doing a weird thing. I need to check through all of this, see if... No, so I see what's happened. That's really frustrating. I hit enough of a hitch that it disconnected from YouTube for a quick mo. And, that restream hit the thing and, that disconnected it. Because Twitch had not skipped a beat from what I could tell. And my stream had neither. That would have been fucking like 20 minutes ago. Holy shit. What? Yeah, it did not, like, actually tell me that correctly. Yeah, no, I would have dipped for only a split moment. That's weird. The fact that it, like, restructured as well to the exact thing again says a lot. Wait, is the thumbnail fucking... The thumbnail's, like, live. Okay. Again, like, this is the weakness of doing the streams like this. Is it, there are so many rooms for hitches and things to go wrong. Oh, I lost my fucking tags as well. Oh, fucking set that shit up later, properly. Just need to remember to use an older version of the stream the next time I stream dev. That's fucking stupid. Alright. Can't find the other one. YouTube ate it. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at my channel in a moment then. We need to take a shower. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Give me I'm going to look at this stuff. All right, studio. Yeah, no, the stream is on the channel somewhere for 2 hours. Jesus. Yeah. 2 hours and 17 minutes. So yeah, the stream would have started like 20 minutes ago then. Video's there, I was looking at the wrong type. Yeah. It's just being weird. Ah, well, it's fine. No beard, my eyes. Well, shut up. I am allowed to try and don different flesh from time to time. And sometimes that may include turning into anime. You know how it goes. I mean, like, it's not like it's hard to find imagery of what I look like, right? We're trying this out for the week. If we feel like we want to do it more, we'll do it more. If we don't feel like we want to do it more, we won't do more. So far, it felt like I've gotten a fair bit of positivity back from this, though. It's kind of fun. As well as, like I said, I felt like I can play around with my voice a lot more comfortably for some reason. I felt a little bit more free to express things, verbally and kind of like with the movement of the character. So that has actually been like a cool positive thing. I've liked that. I'm not really come across anything other than like little hitches like what we just had for problems. But the main thing is as well is like I'm specifically playing a game at the moment, Final Fantasy 1, that should be so low on resource intensity. There's not really much of a fucking chance that we have many issues. If I wanted to play anything else, like Warframe or anything, yeah, we're going to have to go back to camera. There's just no way I'd be able to run VTuber Studio and play a game that's like substantial. Not on this PC. Not until the day that we can consider getting the new one. Which, still kind of pipe dreamy, I'll be honest. I have parts for it, but not enough. We'll get there eventually. I bet our brain is glitched, so used to there being mouth inside of the screen. Well, I mean, like, technically I'm still here. I'm just anime. Not much of a difference, right? You really need to stop stealing people's skin, you know? It's gotten us in trouble last time. That was our own fault. It's fine. Somebody had to replace a pass from old age. Hey now. Hey now. Hey now. progress 60 years. Wow. Okay, thanks. So glad I have the positivity. Maybe I'll just stay anime so I don't look so fucking old. Nah, again, like, this would be a temporary model as well. Like, do not expect, if I was to commit more to this, do not expect this to be how we would, have the model for me, by a long shot. It's actually a good question. How would we do it? I still don't know what I want as a model. Because, like, there is a part of me that's like, I should go for, like, a silver fox design. And when I say that, I mean, like, the term silver fox. Kind of like how Swain is from League of Legends. I know it's a temporary model. You don't have huge anime assets. That was promised like a year and a half ago. True. True. In a sense, yeah. But no, like it's a difficult one, right? Like what do I do for the model for me? Because like I kind of do like the idea of the primordial demon thing that I had, but also you need the plot toggle. What do you mean the plot? Oh, you mean that? Oh, okay. No, I clicked. Yeah. No. Yeah. The bazongas, the hadonkadonks, the plot. Let it thicken like a bowl of oatmeal. Just saying stupid shit at this point. I can confirm I have a huge oatmeal supply. Hell yeah. Okay, while this is very div-testy in its art, can we just, like, think about the fact that this is a really strong character? Like, this feels very strong. Speak of the Devil doesn't feel like it would be good. Using the model requires Mel to keep 4 extinguishers constantly blasting its PC so it's a melt. Yeah, that's the truth of it, yeah. I mean, like, that's gonna be the fun part, right? Is that if we do end up with, like, a new PC, be so many things. The thing I wish Vamp likes, Vamp likes? Was weirdly like the dash from Cuphead. I'm mildly confused. Oh, no, okay, now I got there. Yeah. Yeah, Vamp likes as in like the Vampire Survivor like games. Yeah. That's the genre name, apparently. That is not the name I've heard. If anything, it's actually survivor likes is what I hear most of the time. I've not heard vamp likes. Survival games, yeah, no, survivor likes. Again, it's specifically survivor or survival, not survival. Because that's an actual genre, that's not a thing. But no, Vampire Survivors is normally how I just have it referred to, right? Vampire Survivors style games. But I get the shortening. I just don't know if yeah, Vamp likes a bit weird. Death Must Die have dashes, and I believe he said he doesn't want dashes in the game. That's kind of true, yeah. So what I have said, and I've gone on record saying this game is probably not going to have, like, a direct dash in there. Purely because, the technical issues with doing something like that, I'd feel like I'd need to do an animation for it. I feel like I need to do a lot of things to make it work nicely and cleanly. I'm okay with some instances of things that give dash. As an example, Booby, his passive is the dash. But like, that's his a big mechanic point of it, is that he has a lot of mobility with that. Now, yes, you could make an argument, well, holocure added one recently and proved that like it isn't actually that complex. Add something like that, and I agree, in a sense. But at the end of the day, I just don't feel like it really... This game just doesn't feel like it would benefit from a dash, in my eyes. I don't look at this game and think a dash would actually do good, because of just how many button inputs, in a sense, as well at that point. Because, weirdly enough, I've kind of... Have I talked about this? The one-hand philosophy? So Brotato is a Survivors-like game. That you can play that game completely with one hand. Now, yeah, get your jokes out the way of ha ha ha, one hand and all that. But the theory behind that is that by having it only one hand playing, your brain handles it better. It means that like it's actually more relaxing because your brain can like turn off a little bit more and focus on whatever you need to think about and process things, because this is something I've talked about myself as well, is I go for walks because I need to sometimes think about things. This is kind of the idea there. That's why like even this targeting circle, I could press C and now it's auto-targeting. Now admittedly the auto-targeting's still on the jank side and needs a bit of a swing speed to it to make it feel right. Because at the moment it just snaps to whatever's the closest enemy, instead of like glide to, in a sense. But I am playing this with one hand right now. I can't really show, but like my right hand is now away from my mouse and keyboard. And here as well, like I can select via just keyboard. That was always the big intention. I wanted to make a one-hand joke, but Mel said, haha, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, get it out of your systems, get it out of your systems. But it's a genuine thing, right? Is it like, it helps the player learn and understand the game better by having just one hand playing. Adding a dash adds more things that you need to do, potentially with that one hand, and keep in mind. But also, yeah, no, going to the whole thing of like the enemies, if I was to do it, what I would need to do is I would need to probably take kind of like an iframe approach to it, where it's like what Booby has, is I would need the I would need the dash to have an iframe, like so you're invulnerable during the dash. And that's just starting to get to a point where I feel like we're going too far down a rabbit hole that's probably just not necessary. I hope that's kind of understandable, by the way. Like, I know that it might not be, like, very clear what that argument kind of is in the longer sense of it, but at the end of the day, like, this is a decision I've kind of made for a fairly long time now, and I'm gonna probably stick with it. I don't see myself moving away from this philosophy anytime soon. Yeah, well, I mean, like, that there is genuinely the hardest part about playing, making a game initially. Like, straight up. It's not, like, actually the skill required to make the game, it's that you're gonna not correctly, allocate your time and you're going to overscope. That's always the thing. And that's a very common thing for, yeah, early development, and that's fine. But, yeah, no, it's about trying to learn how to scope, trying to do the basic thing initially. Just go make Space Invaders. It's not the game you probably want to make, but, like, you're not going to make the game you want to make as your first game. I can assure you of that. Unless you are just, like, absolutely one of the most smartest people in the world when it comes to these specific things. But even then, you're gonna have a lot of trial and error to get. Feel free to prove me wrong, but for your own sake, that's the suggestion I always make, right? Make a few shitty tier games to, like, think about a mechanic you want to do for a big game you want to make. Really think about that mechanic, and then go, okay, I'm going to make a game completely around said mechanic. The second invading of space. It's gonna go hard, hell yeah. But yeah, no, that's why, like, I'm now at a stage where I want to start branching out into different games, like I said earlier today, because I have only art asset stuff really that's limiting me on this game, and in a sense I still want to scratch my development itch. That's actually one of my big problems, is that I keep developing faster than I can do the art for this game, which leads me to situations where I am completely behind now. Holy shit, the game did not like that. I love lag, yeah. I'm not gonna lie though, having played this now, I'm actually very fine with this item. I think this item was the correct choice for this character. So yeah, no, it's a weird one, because, like, there's a very valid argument to be made against me with what I'm saying at the moment of, like, oh, it's the stun thing. Oh, yeah, it's the stun thing. Yeah, I gotta be careful picking those up. I need to do something about them. I think there's a lot of bugs around those. But yeah, it's not like even, oh, I want to work on side project and give up on the primary project. It's, I want to work on side project so I can focus on the correct things for the primary project. You know, Bug wouldn't actually be a bad pickup now. Because, like, Moth, Moth, Hand Reveal, and Gushing, I believe, will scale with amount. But yeah, like, going high amount of instances of damage has really worked for this build. I do feel like this is a moment here where we're actually seeing the fact that we don't have more enemies and a higher ramping of enemy spawns. That is kind of notable. Because, like, I'm killing these really easily. And these are not easy enemies to kill. So... we probably do need to ramp the spawn amounts a lot higher, I think is what we need to be doing. Also, hey Yinya, how's it going? I was actually just talking about a side project to work on. In fact, you might be interested in it as well. I know that you're obviously very busy, but just as a maybe a thing to, like, look at. I might even start it, like, this week, we don't know. Fuck it, I was even considering doing it after I've been sure Cinder's working. And we, start playing around with it. It's a card game. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, that freeze is really needing a bit of a touch-up, isn't it? It's very buggy. Oh, I lost my area bonus. Okay. There we go. The area bonus from Timeline's Binding is so fucking big, and to think that this is like half of what it was originally. If it's the MTG thing, I know. Still, didn't have time to check it out. Oh, no. But yeah, no, that's fair enough that you've not had the time for that. No, it's straight up making a game. Making a card game. No, I'm gonna check it out as soon as it's done. No, fair enough. To be fair, there's only so much you'll be able to, like, test and play around with it on your own, because it is, like, supposed to be a, it's a lobby thing. But it is probably a worthwhile thing of just, like, yeah, no, like, if, especially if both of us have got our free time, we could play. Could have fun with Commander Deck. Speaking of, I'm suffering because I'm, like, trying to look at my, finishing off of that Commander deck I want to make. My fucking vampire one. And shit's expensive. And I'm poor as hell. Do you think there's, like, an Arabian prince out there that just, like, has way too much money and is actually willing to give me it? 'Cause I'd be down. No, I'm gonna be honest, right? You know what the worst part of, like, trying to get the cards is not even, like, actually trying to buy the cards, it's the fucking shipping. Because, like, there is a bunch of card stuff I have sitting there, it's like $50 for shipping. And you think I'm kidding, I'm not. There is a card I have in my fucking, like, list of things I'm looking at right now that is straight up a, like, $30, $40 card, and it's like $40 for shipping. A single card. Fuck New Zealand sometimes, man. I hate it. Shipping be rough, man. Shipping be rough. Oh, hello. That's that era. Shipping costs will be the end of us all, me especially. Been spending all my time looking at an apprenticeship. Haven't changed my approach and it seems to work a little better. Hard to tell since no results. That's fair, that's fair. Ooh, Aura is gonna hang out in her VC and play Minecraft. Just saw that. Instead of contacting companies, I try and contact all the devs living in the area and ask them. That's not a bad approach. There are concerns with that, and that's security concerns, and I just immediately think of, and I'm sure you probably know about this as well, like social engineering related issues. But that does make sense. Yeah, no, because it's like, again, asking people, hey, do you actually think this? Because then they'll, again, this sounds really shitty, and this is something that I 100% think is not what should be the case sometimes. But it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. I can get a job I'm underqualified for by 100%, as long as I know a person that works there. And they're willing to vouch. Because at that point in time, it's like, oh no, this dude can learn this stuff and is capable, right? It is definitely, in a sense, a very good approach for that. It's what I do, is I do a lot of networking, so this is why, like, so, going back to when I was, like, a project facilitator and all that sort of stuff, is the reason why I was hired in for that role was because I knew a lot of people, so I got in the role, but they kept me around for as long as they did, even when I'd stopped being, like, technically what they wanted. Because I knew so many people in the area that losing me was actually, like, so much negative, like, net knowledge to the entirety of their group. And it wasn't even, like, per se the knowledge, it's that, like, even if they knew how to contact these people, would these people actually talk to them? No. I know a lot of them would not talk to anyone that wasn't me, and that was how I got a lot of things through. Like, I knew people in the local council, I knew a lot of, like, things, so I could actually get things done quite efficiently and effectively if I needed to. I knew a lot of, like, general communities and stuff like that. I had, again, access to a lot of things. I could go quite far, and I could do quite a bit. And that's kind of that example there. Of, like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So, yeah, being somewhat sociable and good at talking with people is one of the most important skills in the modern day. Because nobody fucking actually uses it. And it means that you look really good when you do. Right? That's always the important thing to kind of keep in mind with it. Alright. I think, now that we've done Cinder and we've tested around, and outside of like a couple of bugs that still exist here and there, I think we're going to kind of put this game on the back burner a little bit and start working on another one. I want to start working on a card game. I really want to start working on the card game today, and it's going to be a very soft amount of work on it. We're going to just try and see if we can implement a system where we can have cards and play cards, and that will be about it. We're probably also going to do it with non-visual, mostly, because we just want to have the code set up for it. So we're just going to make a playroom test environment. So let's try that out. And I am going to do it in Game Maker, just because I am more comfortable with Game Maker, and that's basically it. I'm going to set up the data locationing for everything later. We're not too fussed about that right now. But let's set up, so we need to create our first object. There we go. I have twisted my mind so much about doing good OOP patterns for card systems. I'm gonna query you on something. Because I'm gonna wonder how you're gonna handle something that I'm gonna do. So this might not always be separated, we're going to probably put these together somehow, but we'll do this for now. In fact, there's probably a good chance that we have just like the board and the hand. Yeah, we'll get rid of the hand. And then we're just going to have player, and then we're going to have 2 players. We're just going to have 1 player for now, though. And then in the player, we're going to do create. Oh god, it's set to default that. Where's my fucking settings? Default is GML code, because I'm not gonna fucking want to throw up. There we go. So with this, I'm gonna need to make hand, and then we're going to need to make probably a script for making hands. Actually, let's make cards first. So card cons 4. So what are we gonna need for, what do we need in a card? We need name. We need, okay, so this is where we query, what do we have for resources? Because resources, like, we're gonna have resource cost. You should start with a card interface. I mean, in a simpler sense, yeah, right? Like, I'm not gonna do any visual stuff. We're gonna just do it mainly from debug console because we're just gonna get the raw concept data going. We just need to conceptualize what a card is. So we're gonna need type because obviously we need to have if it's a spell card, if it's a creature card, if there's anything else that it might be. And then we're going to need image, well, sprite, I guess. No, we'll call it image. Let's pull up paint and think about this. Oh, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Thought you meant. That's why I also added in the extra, though, of saying that we're not going for a visual thing. Okay, so if we're thinking about a card, because, like, how do we want to lay it out? We're not going to care too much about the layout correctly now, but what do we need for it? So for a creature card, we're going to need to have a, attack, or we'll call it, for now we're just going to call it power / health. Again, none of these names are going to stick, potentially. This is just what we're setting it up. We're going to need a name. We're going to need an image. We're probably also going to need a cost, like I said. Which I'm not gonna lie, of all of the card games I've played now, there is two different ways of doing cost. There is to do what MTG has in my eyes, or what Legends of Runeterra does. These are the two different ways I'm gonna probably do resource cost. So to explain this better, MTG, it is lands. So it's actual cards you would draw from your deck that you play, and once they're played out, that is an available mana. There is a cap to how many you can play per turn, though, unless you have something that specifies otherwise. There is also other ways to get these resources, but this is the core rationale, is that you would play a card that would give you mana. Yeah, no, I'm going to say this now. We talked about this earlier. Yu-Gi-Oh! Can go fuck itself. Yu-Gi-Oh! Does not have a good cost architecture. Its cost architecture is, hey, how many cards do you have in your hand? Do you have draw cards in your hand? Cool, well done, you have infinite resources. That is not good. That's why I stand by, like, a game that's basically guaranteed for the game to aim for, like, 2-3 turns, but still be, like, 10 minutes, is not good in my eyes. I do not like the pacing of Yu-Gi-Oh! I do not like the style of Yu-Gi-Oh! I think the entire, like, kind of thing it is not good. And keep in mind that we're in a situation where we don't know what we're quite doing. Because the other key thing to keep in mind is we're either going for Slay the Spire Monster Train style, with how the game plays, or we're going for Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering, Legends of Runeterra style. I still don't know which one I like more. I'm leaning towards that, like, a Hearthstone Legends of Runeterra style, where it is cards that you play out onto a thing, very linearly, and you have spells that you can cast and all that, and your opponent is basically the same in some capacity. They're doing the same sort of thing, whereas, like, obviously, again, Slay the Spire is enemies right in front, like, enemies are there, they'll have their actions, and you cast your spells on those. That's why I draw in sparse in favor of controlled search, but I agree, it tends to suck. Yeah. Like, it's just, when your game is all about tutoring and all that, like, the design of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is very bad in my eyes. Trying the Pokemon TCG, refreshing to play casually. I haven't actually looked too much into it. I know a lot of people playing it though. And I'm not gonna say anything about it, right? But yeah, anyway, so going back to the whole thing is just Legends of Runeterra, Hearthstone have an architecture where it's just you have a mana +1 base per turn. With say like a max 10-ish. Legends of Runeterra has a really cool style where it's like you have a max of 10, but you also have what's called 3 spell mana. Any mana you would not use on your previous turn is held as spell mana up to 3, and spell mana does not disappear unless used. There are some things that give you straight up spell mana and all that, but like that is a cool thing to me. I like the spell mana system. I think that's cool. But like I said, I do like Magic the Gathering. The problem is, how fast do we want the game to be? Because if we want the game to be really fast, playing out lands could feel really slow. Like really, really painful to play. Because it basically fills your deck with a bunch of stuff that you need to keep in there as a way of playing, like paying for your cards. And that could probably feel detrimental. Again, keeping in mind that we're trying to aim for like Hearthstone Duels, Path of Champions, and Slay the Spire, kind of an amalgamation of some of that stuff in between. Right? But yeah, no, so we'll also have to have card effects. I don't really like having the resource in the deck building. Again, this is why I say, like, mixed feelings on it. I actually kind of like it, because as I said, so, if I pull up, so this here is the deck that I'm building for Magic the Gathering. This is the deck that I'm building. So fucking yell at me all you like. This is how I'm building it, right? So I'm theory crafting with it. I like the fact that I have to actually manage my stuff, because this here shows me of my white-black deck, I actually produce a lot more white than I do black in general, which is kind of the intention with this, because I have low white cost but high black cost for my deck. But I have a lot of land in the deck, so I can play it out pretty easily. It's the difficulty of, like, if you look at a typical Commander game, for example. A typical Commander game, I think, sits at about 30 to an hour. 30 minutes to an hour, like I've seen. Probably 40 minutes is probably a good average point. I kind of like it because you do get lands like the Witch's Cottage, Volder Estate, so it's an interesting kind of room for design there. I think that's cool. Vault of the Archangel, Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, which, by the way, this is one of the expensive cards that I like complain about. But then you've obviously got, yeah, your generic swamps. Your first few turns are going to be thing. Again, I like fast-paced games, and that's kind of the point, right? Is like, it depends on what we want the game's combat pacing to be. Because if we want fast, then we probably take the Legends of Runeterra kind of design, where there is a resource cost, it generates steadily upwards, but you can influence it. And it refreshes per turn, which both of these have it as a refresh per turn. So I think what we're hearing is that we probably take the Legends of Runeterra approach, or like the Hearthstone Legends of Runeterra approach, and have mana tick up. So the query on that becomes, is there going to be any uniqueness to this? Because one game I saw created, and this might be like an interesting thing for some people, was, what is it called again? Do I have it on Discord still? Chroma, Blight and Bloom. So Chroma, Blight and Bloom was a game made by a developer that I follow fairly closely. I think he's an awesome person. He actually plays a lot of like Dota 2 content. And he also is like kind of some of my early curiosity in recent years towards Magic the Gathering. He actually started playing a lot of that and talking about it a lot on stream, and I started getting very interested. In that, you have your mana tick up per turn, but the mana tick up per turn is a color. And that color you predetermine before going in. So what, for example, you could do is you could have like a white, red, red as kind of your mana thing, and it will tick up as that per turn. This creates an interesting thing, because then there is a pre-deck building, like a pre-game deck building aspect of the mana, but not as well. This comes into query of, I don't think this would probably work for this, but it's a cool idea that I thought should be kind of talked about nonetheless, right? It's important to kind of acknowledge that sometimes we'll talk about a design idea and not want it, but it's worth looking at. And why was it done? Why did it do, like, was it good or bad? This is an interesting way of kind of interacting with a point between Magic the Gathering and Legends of Runeterra, because it means that you still gate the characters behind some of this stuff, and it means that you're like, okay, well, I mean, all of my, like, ones that would cost red mana are really late game cards that need so much additional cost, I might as well put them as my late game ones, right? Like, the cheapest red card I have requires 6 total mana. Why should I bother having a red mana before turn 6 then? Oh, interesting. Didn't know why it reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh! Dice game at the beginning of the anime. With the colored dice. Yeah, no, in a sense, right, yeah. It's an interesting way of approaching it. I don't think we do it here, but I thought this would just be a worthwhile thing to bring up. So, what I'm hearing, though, is cost is just going to be mana. Just this type of mana. The Legends of Runeterra Hearthstone. Which, again, we can have additional costs to cards. Some cards might require, like, certain things to be in play, or certain conditions to be met for them to be played. I'm still fine with that. That's important to keep in mind. So we'll do that for now as kind of like the theory behind what we need. Right? So we'll just make a raw number for the cost. However, like I said, if we're going to have cards that require an additional thing, we're going to have to preface it with resource cost and then we're going to have an additional cost. So how that will be done, I'm not sure quite yet, but it's going to just be probably like a function to check and then a function to run when thing, right? Bonus challenge, make the mana afloat. No. Why would we have mana afloat? Why would you do float mana? No. Now you're telling me to have like maximum 100 mana and then have it like as a 35. What the fuck's the point? No, it's just gonna be integers. It's gonna be raw integers, I think. right? Okay, so image, now we're gonna have, effects, and then we're going to have some rules around these, right? So, as part of this, there'll have to be, like, a type, a type, condition, with a hash there, just because it's probably not always going to be necessary, and then the function. Don't want to have 69 plus 0.420 mana. No. No, we're gonna give you like 10 mana max, fuck it. Again, we're probably just taking the good old Legendary Terra Hearthstone approach. So we're probably also gonna have to have like, because we're probably gonna also have tokens or stuff like that, right? Buffs, all that stuff. So we're gonna just have extra for now is probably the room for that. But we're gonna probably have to construct that very differently eventually. So. Just make everything cost 1 by default to make things a bit faster. So how is additional cost going to be laid out? It was going to be, maybe we have to have this one as a type, condition, funk as well. But now I'm just going to have this as none. -1, -1. Most of these are... Fuck. Most of these are just going to be like replaced eventually with whatchamacallit, enums, right? A get cost method can be overridden. I mean, yeah. Like, that's the point, is all of this I'm just setting up as the defaults, right? I'm gonna do this to make this a little bit easier to read moving forward. I was answering your question about how to potentially handle additional costs. Oh no, like, I mean, what would probably have, right, is that when it's doing the, like, check to play, what it will do is it will check resource cost, and then it will check, it'll go into the additional cost, and then it will go through the arrays for it. So it will check the first one, it will figure out what type of cost it should be, so say if it's a sacrifice cost, if it's, or like maybe if it's an optional cost, I don't know, we'll see. Whatever, but like if it's a sacrifice cost, we'll just use that as an example. Sacrifice cost, and then we'll go into it and go, hey, okay, what sacrifice does it require? Does it require just a creature? Does it require a card from hand? And then it will check those conditionals. So it will go like, oh, it requires a card from hand. Do you have cards in hand? Yes, you can play this, and then you're going to have to do the function that will be run, which is discard a card, right? So it will do that kind of like as a checkpoint. The reason why we're writing none there is because it will basically just be a nice safe way of going, I mean, it would be equivalent to just basically asking, is the array got anything in it? We could just leave the array empty, and that would be a valid way of doing it. In fact, like, genuinely, it's probably easier to just do this. Because then I would just go, like, is array length greater than 0? It is? Okay, now we know we've got an additional cost. Instead of even checking if it's got, like, what the additional cost is. Yeah, that's probably just better. For now, I'm just going to put this as -1, because we have literally no sprites in the game. And it's not going to matter anyway, because we're not going to bother, like, drawing shit for now. We're also probably going to have to import in a descripting system. So we're probably going to have I'm probably going to use a very similar system as the one I had from the previous one. So it's going to be an array, it's going to check if it's a thing, just exactly as the thing. But yeah, it's going to probably be the same sort of way I write them as I did in the other game, right? Because then that way we can tell it to do italics, we can tell it to do whatever, and we can set up like even more conditionals to check. It's like, oh, this is a symbol, draw the symbol. Because we're probably going to need ways to draw symbols. Effects is also going to just be an array thing. Because for that, for example, it will be like enter play, play from hand, on death, on add to this place, that place, on attack, on all that, right? There's probably an argument as well so part of extras is probably going to be conditions. So, for example, using Hearthstone as the base point for this argument, taunt. Taunt will have to be a condition. So the character might enter with taunt already. Now the question is that going to be an effect, or is that going to be inbuilt, as part of like the extras thing? Should they have that condition pre-established, or should that condition be part of like the list of effects that they get upon summoning? It's a difficult one. Can Game Maker do terminal games? Kind of. I mean, I have the debug output console down here, so I just need to do show debug messaging. It will just open up a blank thing. Because it already has a room. basically what I'm going to do for the initial stuff. Okay, I'm gonna call it this way. So initial conditions are gonna be tags like taunt, divine shield, fucking anything like that, right? It's something that the card itself core-wise has. It can be removed, like if, say, you silence the card, but if the card is resummoned in its rawest form, this value will never change. However, what we can also have is with self conditions, we can have it as like buffs that you would apply. So if you're resurrecting it with buffs, then it has those. And then external conditions can be stuff like aura effects coming in. So if I have an aura that gives it a +1 attack, then that would go to external conditions instead of being a stat added to the stats, because the stats should not be like actually altered. The base stats should only get effects on them from the conditions. That's, I think, what we'd do for the baseline of it. Remember about weird frameworks? My first card game I coded was Uno in Discord chat. Don't know why, but by what miracle it was somewhat functional. Yeah, that's about right. I mean, that's typically how it goes, right? Again, we've said how many times now, like, the first time you do something, expect it to look like garbage, and you're not gonna fucking disappoint yourself as much. You're in fact gonna more likely be, like, pleasantly surprised by the fact that it looks better than you may have expected by the end. Expect the worst, get the best. Expect the worst, aim for the best. That's, I think, the best way. Hello. How am I? I'm doing fine. Okay. Is there anything else we can think of that would go towards this at all? I think that's pretty much everything that the card constructor would need. What do I think about anime? As an anime person, at least temporarily myself, I enjoy it from time to time. Haven't watched any in a couple of weeks, but yeah. I'm a workaholic, so I don't tend to watch much nowadays. Watching Dan, whatever, how it's said again. I mean, I've heard a lot of positivity around that. I'm probably gonna wait till the season's over before I watch it, like I normally do with that stuff. But I think, yeah, sounds cool. So that's the card constructing. Don't watch the first episode, it's too much crazy. I've already seen the main stuff from it, and I've already partly read the original. I know what I'm getting in for. Slowly been chewing through One Piece with a friend. Damn. That's a slow chew there, my friend. One day I'll get to it. One day I'll get to it. I don't know, the thing is, right, is I still don't know whether I want to watch or read it. Because you'll always get the problem, and I will say this very plainly, you'll have the people that say, you might as well just watch it, or you're gonna have the people, no, how dare you, that's a fucking travesty, you should read it instead, because it's way better to read it. And I'm gonna be honest, you try and argue to either side for me, it's just never gonna work. If I'm gonna watch it, it's because my rationale is I need an easier way of getting through it while doing other stuff. Which sounds a lot more realistic when it comes to One Piece. I'm gonna ask you to avoid talking about the actual content of the series, by the way, there, Riku, because, like I said, while I know bits and pieces, some people might not be watching it yet, and I don't want to go too far into the story of it as well. You know, just to avoid spoilers. Now, 500 episodes, I'm too afraid to stop. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the other thing is, right, is it's commitment. I remember watching, Bleach back when, and it's you're 300 something, you're 200, 300 episodes in, you're like, well, I kind of just gotta finish this, regardless of what I think of it. Which, yeah. I gotta say, that's the one thing about One Piece that I'm, touch and go about, because I got burned bad enough with the filler from Bleach. I'm content not doing that too much again, which has been my hesitation. Even if I know some of the filler is a lot better and is mostly better written, it doesn't stop the fact that, filler is filler, and in general, filler in anime especially is just kind of painful. It's kind of painful. I'm not gonna say the West is much better for that stuff as well, but just filler in general, normally not great, and especially when I still think the peak series of all time is Babylon 5, and even the filler episodes in that were, significantly meaningful and had so much, further thing, right? I mean, I stand by, though, the best filler episode of all time in all series, in my eyes, is the Zeppo. If anyone has ever watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that fucking episode slaps hard. Watching it out of context of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, episode's not that great, but the episode itself is just a perfect example of what a good filler episode can be. To explain it in the briefest sense, it is following one of the side characters of the main group. The main group are like, look, this dude is a normal human. He's not able to do anything other than be a normal human. He can't do magic, he can't do jack shit. And it's following this dude while all of the characters are dealing with basically the end of the fucking world. And he's just dealing with a bunch of dickheads, and they end up basically getting to a situation where they decide they want to blow up the school because they're zombies and fucking why not. And he just does some basic stuff, stops that from happening, and in the process actually stops the main group from getting blown up as well and the world ending. If he didn't do his actions, the world would have ended. But it's just a casual day, in a sense. And it's just a beautiful way of showing the impact these smaller characters can have on the grander scheme of things by doing their things. By regardless of, oh, can you do magic? Can you do superhero powers stuff? No. But you're a casual man doing casual stuff and doing like things. It's very impactful. So yeah, no, that is what a good filler episode should be. Not, hey, these characters are at the beach eating a watermelon and wearing swimsuits because you want to see them in swimsuits, right? I'm okay with a beach episode, but like when the entire episode actually doesn't have any events occur other than them being at the beach, kind of bored of it now. Too many times. Gotta think of this shit originally, people. To be fair, I say that, like, most slice of life series that do that nowadays have, like, some emotional or intense drama happen while they're at the beach. Like, some fucking person announces that they're cheating on someone, or accidentally gets caught with someone, or fucking, I don't know. That's always how that goes, right? That's the beach episodes in slice of life. But specifically ones that have, like, drama tag. Or romance tag, which is basically the drama tag in that case. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there are a few references. Okay, okay, so we've got a way of doing this now, and now we go into the room, and we drag the controller in here. And now I'm actually going to do a draw GUI event. And then if isn't it draw text? There we go. I'll still not forgive One Piece for doing a 10-episode flashback at the end of the 4-episode flashback to what happened just before the first flash. Yeah, that's kind of where it gets to, like, some of that stuff is what I've heard about, and that shit sounds really scummy, unnecessary. And just kind of has me a bit feeling ill about it. I mean, I stand by. I have an issue with flashbacks in general, because okay. No, can I talk about, and I've talked about this I think before, but can I talk about, to this day, the actual worst previously on slash flashback thing I have ever seen in all of TV? Just straight up, the worst thing ever. So if anyone recalls, like, for a long time with, like, Battlestar Galactica and all that sort of stuff, they'll have, like, a previously on, or, like, I think Dragon Ball also had it. But, like, they'll have something like that. Doctor Who has that sometimes. Not always, I don't think, but most of the time, right? It's like a little thing was going on. So there was a specific big story arc with Matt Smith's Doctor, where he got killed on the beach by another character. And we find out throughout the story who that character is and why they end up there. However, we find out that it's a fixed point in time and this cannot be changed. The Doctor needs to be on the beach and that character needs to shoot him. This is necessary, otherwise the universe will implode. In that final episode, where it has built up so much leading up to it, they, in the previously on, showed something that gave away the big reveal. And it ruined it completely. I was watching this with a bunch of people, and everyone in the room groaned at that moment, going like, is there even a fucking point to watching this episode anymore? Because you've just told us how this big, awesome reveal is going to end. Yeah, the impossible astronaut, yeah. So to shorthand it, there is a thing from a previous episode that is basically a giant robot mecha thing, but it's actually the size of a normal person, and it shrinks the people down to mini sizes and allowing them to pilot him. And it can look like anyone. This was shown in the previously on, and you're like, oh wow, I wonder how he's going to be on the beach but not fucking die. That was one of the worst experiences I've ever had with that shit. Because it's just like, even your fucking, like, 4-year-old child would be able to figure that shit out at that point. And that's how you ruin such an amazingly built up moment over, like, a giant period of time. And it really fucking ruined it. It really did. It will always make me, like, super sad. Cool. It shows the things that I wanted to. So with player, I'm going to do a step event if and then it's say R. Should have sent a letter to the Queen, honestly, yeah. No, it was actually just so upsetting, though. Like, I still felt really fucking smart with one of the story endings, which was when we found out who River Song was. Like, actually her, about her parents. I'm getting kind of loose about this, even though, let's be honest, this is like a fucking ages old, so if you don't know about this shit, it's kind of on you. But I felt like a genius because of the 3 people in that room that I was watching it with. Oh, sorry, I was one of them, so 2 other people. One of them caught it much earlier, and you could hear them go, and everyone just in the room, shh, don't say it. We get into the main thing, they show the cot, and I can... This is how much of a fucking nerd I am. At the time, I could read Gallifrenian. And I read the cot, and I figured out who it was. I was like, and then just that one last person that hadn't quite figured it out, shh, both of you shut the fuck up. It was absolutely the funniest fucking thing. Damn, how do you even? What do you mean? Gallifrenian. It's recognition of the symbol architecture and then seeing how the... because it's a... So the symbol system is very easy because it's a lot of meanings. So it's actually less letters and more words that you need to know. So it's actually just a memory game. An entire sentence can be just a singular circle kind of thing. And it's the symbology inside of that that references out. Yeah. I'm not gonna deny I'm a fucking massive nerd. Again, not the only ever fake like fantasy story language I ever learned and actually could read and speak in. Though Gallifrenian, you don't really speak in it. It's just the way it's written. Or maybe you do speak in it, I just never learned speaking of it. It's just alien kanjis? Kinda, yeah. In a sense. That's not an inaccurate way of putting it. Again, I was a weird child. I learned Gallifrenian pretty early on. And I enjoyed it. I found it really fun because it was a cool language to like draw. But I can't remember jack shit now. Do not ask me to even remember how to do like your name in it. Because it's fucking... It's goners. It's goners. There is actually apparently like a translator thing now though. Like there's an official one. Which I think that's kind of cool. Actually, let's have a look at it, right? Let's look it up. Gallifrenian translator. Yeah, so. There you go. That's your name in California, or your nickname that you have. I wonder what this would be. Because yes, if you're wondering, so this is kind of how it differentiates out in the language points. And like this is normally your singular sentence, is this entire thing. However, if you have a super long one, then it will start separating out. It depends on the syntaxing. There you go. VTubers are great. You should watch them. In particular, watch Iron Mouse. Wait, so if I remember correctly, is it bottom is the first? Yeah. It goes bottom and then it goes clockwise, I believe. So the last one should be, let's see. Yeah, so the last one is, no, it's counterclockwise. Yeah, that's right. So if you're wondering, so you can go VTubers are great. You should watch them. In particular, watch Iron Mouse. Yeah, you can move backwards from that. Kinda cool. So there you go. So R should be our draw thing. So we're gonna have to have an if check though. If array length deck is greater than 0. And boom, we have a basic draw system. Now, obviously it won't work at the moment because we have no cards in our deck. So let's go to controller and let's write a couple of cards very quickly. Let's just make some defaults. So we'll have them only named. So array push player dot deck, and then we're gonna have new card constructor, and we're just going to name them. Battery. Tom. David. So we've got 3 cards. So let's see. Oh, no, that's right. That's not the wording for that. It's... That's it. Cool. Sorry to leave this early, but past midnight already. I mean, that's not early. That's fine. Catch you later, Nya. Enjoy the rest of your evening and have a good sleep. Catch you later, though. Okay, so we have the most basic architecture of a deck and a hand. These are like the most important parts. I'm hoping, by the way, as well, like, I will probably just straight up do this as our last stream for the week. I'm probably going to finish up kind of soonish, maybe? I don't know. We could probably go back to the other game and work on that a bit more again. But, like, I'm hoping that, like, from this, though, we can make an understanding of, like, hey, by the way, it's actually not hard to make a game. I have now just made the player able to draw cards. I have made cards. I have made the player be able to draw cards from their deck. How is this an issue? Now we can make that into a function, and then we'll have check things as well for, like, if we have a hand size. I don't think I really want to have a hand size. I don't know. End of turn hand size sounds kind of fun, because I actually like that with, like, Magic the Gathering. It means that, like, you can draw a shitload during your turn, but, like, if you end your turn, your resources get goners. But, fun fact, do you want to know why a lot of card games actually limit hand size? It's because of a concept called choice paralysis, where if you have too many choices, you kind of look like a deer in the headlights. And you're in a situation where you can no longer kind of constructively answer a thing. You don't know what's in your hand, and it's just so overwhelming, you kind of give up. This is why card size, like hand sizes, are limited in a lot of cases. However, there is good and bad to that. Like I said, having a max hand size at the end of your turn, it means you can still have choice paralysis during your turn. And there's good and bad to that. So we might have a hard limit on the hand size. Yeah. Which, if we are, we're probably gonna just do the generic, like, 10. Maybe there'll be things to increase your hand size, right? But the fact is, this is how kind of, like, simple it is to make these cards. Admittedly, this isn't great, but, like, we'll probably make an entire, document for cards. Or, like, a scripting area for cards and the construction of every single card. Just, there is. Which is gonna be a lot, right? How it's gonna be done, that's a question. I'm probably gonna look up some answers to that, because I don't want to write, like, I don't really like how I've got, like, the way we've got weapons, for example, done in VTuber Unite. We're probably not gonna want to do that, because that's just, like, a lot of writing, and especially knowing that, like, the amount of cards that would need to be made potentially might be way too many for that sort of idea. And like, it's just, that's a lot of cards getting constructed. So there would have to be a way to easily figure out a good answer to that. But yeah, no, the benefit we can have is that, like, you as a player can have your deck stored out and all that sort of stuff, cards added to the deck, cards removed from the deck. You'd have a local deck and then your actual deck that would be in totaling point, so your library thing, whereas, like, that's where your out of game deck is. This is your in-game deck, we'll need the out of game deck. Right, because we don't want to actually remove cards from your deck as we're playing them. That would be kind of scummy. Be kind of funny though. But God, imagine that as like an artifact, as when you play a card and it's permanently removed from your deck. Ah, that would be horrendous. Oh man, that run would either become like super good or super bad. Because then it would be like, no, what you'd do, right, is you'd just make it that at the end of the game, your deck becomes whatever is left in your deck and in your hand. That's how you balance that. Because then you would want to have like a bunch of discovery sort of effects, and then you'd be able to kind of like generate a thing from that. That'd be kind of fun. So yeah, we'll leave it at that though, and we might come back to this another time. But it's just like, that is a way of showing how fast and easy it is to like set up a basic thing. So never feel that you're like overwhelmed when it comes to a game. Like, this is just how this stuff is. It's going to be like somewhat rough initially, but as long as you just focus on one or two pieces and get all the core stuff done. Again, one of the common things you'll always hear is the good old, make an object that moves. Make an object, and then make it take input to move. Well done, you've now just like officially made a game. And you can go from there. And now you add a shoot. Now you add a targeting to shoot. Then you add an enemy. Then you add the ability for enemy to take damage. Then you add the shoot to deal damage. Then you might add the enemy to shoot, or the enemy to come at you and attack you. And then you add damage to the enemy, and then you add health to the player. Well done, you've now just like really made it a significant game from just that. And that is some very basic steps. I can do almost all of that in about 5 minutes. To be fair, I would probably do pre-planning for all of it and get it done like very linear, but that's kind of that point, right? So that's what's important to kind of keep in mind for all that. Alright. So with that being the case, let's actually do some art. Because we need assets for like the stuff that we've made for both Matara and Cinder. So let's open up Sprite. Let's work on Heart first. Hellhound Heart. Okay, I think that's kind of the general idea that we want to go with this. So now I'm just gonna... There we go. So obviously the colors would need to be changed, but like that's a real brief kind of look at what we'd probably want to do. I like the idea of it. So I'm just gonna save this. No, this is an item. What is it called again? How... Call it that for now. So we just have it as a thing, and then we'll just do the tweaks for it later. Just trying to get like the ideas down right now while I'm thinking on it. Okay, there we go. going to probably want the wind down as well. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad. I think there's a little bit more that can be done to this middle frame here. Make it maybe a little bit more orb-like. So let's go to a lower layer and create a sphere of grunge. Okay, yeah. Looks like a shitty kind of like fire coming downward and planting onto the ground. The one thing I do need to change, and you might be querying this a little bit, but we're going to turn everything to the color. Okay, well that looks a little questionable, I'll admit. Okay. This will all make sense shortly, I swear. There we go. And that's how we get the shadow in. Now, you might be asking, why am I doing it in the color white? It's because I want to be lazy. We all like being lazy, right? Oh, we'll go with that. And I think I'm gonna use that. Yeah, that looks way more interesting. Yeah, that looks nice. And then we go to weapons, we go to weapon equipment, go here. No, it's not here, it's items, sorry. Items. create group would be, what is it called? Hellhound. And let's see, file, export. Yes. File, sprite sheet. Yes. That was the wrong one. Image. Let's try image. Okay, so to explain, why am I doing that as white instead of doing it as like a color, a set color? That is because I can set the color here, and that means I can be lazy and then also, say, find a really nice blue. And go into characters, play a character. And do that. So now we get the blue spiral where that is. And then we come to here and we go change this to SP Hellhound Heart icon and SP Hellhound Heart. And let's see how this looks. Still might be off, we did just position it, and also I think the animation is going to be super fast. Because this is set as animation speed 3, yeah, 30, so we'll probably put this to like 15 maybe. See how this comes out. So now Hellhound Heart actually has its icon in. So we'll need to change the frame thing, that's fine. Because at the moment it's duration, not frame. And then we're also going to change where it prints it to. There we go. Now let's see how this feels. Okay, that looks pretty cool to me. We clearly didn't capture the color I wanted though for this. That's fine. And we might need to add to the step event to be over the top of the player. On the item at the very least. Let's try that. Because I want it to go over the player. I want it to be an effect that's kind of like that. There we go. God's sake, I need to fix that. Should do that. Yeah, there you go. Blue Cinders is just literally the same thing now, but blue. And it looks actually quite nice like that. Holy shit. Oh, I'm actually really impressed with how that kind of looks to me. Like, don't get me wrong, there's kind of an argument to shadowing and, like, lighting and stuff like that. Kind of looks a bit weird, but overall, I'm gonna argue that's actually more the background that's ruining it, not the, actual thing. That looks really nice to me. Also, can we just kind of, like, return to the point of, like, this has 7% chance for these, blue flames to trigger. So if someone's gonna try and tell me, oh, that's really low, the amount of times we see it multi-trigger, like there. Hell, we just saw, that there was an instance of a blue flame triggering a blue flame. Like, it happens a lot at just 7%. And again, that's the point of this character, is I feel that, like, we're trying to go for as many instances of damage as possible. So lots of low damage, abuse the blue flames to cascade out of control. So ironically enough, again, really kind of not good into bosses. But we have, like, ways of dealing with bosses. I mean, Mothgoop being one of the, like, prime examples. Hello, pizza rolls, you know, that's fair. But yeah, no, I'm impressed with this one. Yeah. I think she's come out quite well so far. Now, that might lag, so we're gonna be careful picking up those moving forward, because they might cause problems again. Do need to fix the boss movement thing, but I know kind of what needs to be done there. But there we go, yeah, so Cinder is feeling really good, actually. I'm very happy with her implementation right now, and, like, even though we tossed up for almost about an hour today whether or not that should be the item for her, I'm actually quite happy with it, because it's come out to, like, end up with a very funky and fun build to me. Which is cool. I'm happy with that. Okay. So, with that being the case, what else is there to work on? I mean, more icons, right? So there's gonna be more icons. More assets, more icons, more assets, more icons, more assets, more icons, more assets, more icons. Dude, I'm gonna start having fucking nightmares about assets and icons. Perpetual and eternal cycle of getting more assets done. What a brilliant time it is. Um, hmm. Also, I do need to double check because it didn't actually look quite like the healing was triggering off the thing. Which, I mean, it's fine if it's not. Honestly, there's a good argument to make that, like, maybe we should just not have healing part of that passive. Of that, that item. Just because it's like... maybe it's a little too overloaded at that point. I think, yeah, I think we remove it. I don't think we fix it, I think we remove it. I think that's the correct thing to do. Okay, yeah, I think we're gonna call it here for today. I kind of want to just get more theory crafting done for the card game, I'll be honest. And, like, think about some cards to just make for the beginning of it and figure out the class that I'm gonna do for the beginning of it and stuff like that. So we can do our testing from there. And do some more research into that field. Aside from that, I don't think there's much else I'm going to probably be doing today because I'm feeling kind of shattered. Yesterday was less of a break than I kind of wanted in some regards. But that's very normal for my days off, so, you know. So with that being the case, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. You're awesome. Stay awesome. And I hope to see you again next time. Until then, bye-bye.